voted at this point for it. So thank you all. At this point, I'd like to entertain a motion to call the meeting to order, if I could, please. You should all have the ability to unmute yourselves, and you will have to at this time.
So move.
Second.
Okay, I heard a Chef Arnold, I believe, for the Summit and Panamowski. All those in favor of getting the meeting started, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? Likewise. Okay, great. We'll go ahead and get started. So as I mentioned, again, I'm Chef Patty and running the night, but we are going to go ahead before we start getting into too much of the meeting. I first wanted to go through our pledge and a prayer and then go right into our chili competition. So I have changed the agenda tonight, but first and foremost, if you can all again unmute yourself and please join me in saying the Pledge of Allegiance. The Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United
States of America,
And to the republic for which
Republic
to which is one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
For food, for raiment, for life, for opportunity, for friendship, for fellowship, we thank thee, O Lord. Amen.
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 All right, at this point, I'm going to ask all of you to mute yourselves so that I don't mess anything else up with that. And I'm going to turn it right over to Chef Guy. You have seen, heard about this chili competition going on?
Yeah, something like that. See
Yeah,
that thing around my head
there's a
there?
big announcement tonight. So I'm going to mute myself and take it away, Chef.
I want to thank the 2 participants. We only had 2 participants, but I think it's the quality and not the quantity that was involved. They were both really good. I'd like to thank Dawson Flinchball, who we all know as Chief Chili. He runs the chili competition in the Harrisburg area for the International Society of Chili. And he has been doing that for a gazillion years. And he helped me judge. It was down to a half of a point difference between the 2 pots of chili for the winner and the second place. So without further ado, let me show you what first place is going to win. Now you notice that I have, those of you who are on the screen, I have myself the other way because we tried it originally and you couldn't see this, but I want to, you still can't see it, can you? There, that's a little better. This is the plaques are really neat. Laserleaf, he did a really, really nice job. There we go. There's first place. They'll also receive a real nice cutting board with our ACF logo on it. Maybe not. And also a stock pot. Yeah, you're not going to see that very well. There's stock pot, and with a nice chili pot with lid and a $25 gift certificate in which to cook a batch of your award-winning chili at one of our meetings so that everyone will have the opportunity to taste it. Okay, our winner is Don Barcha. Did I say that right?
Close. Don Bart.
There you go. Don, a wonderful chili. Like I said, we were 0.5 difference in between the 2. And you'll also have the opportunity to have your chili for a week at Flinchy's restaurant that Dawson Flinchball owns that. And he would love to have it there and also get the opportunity to judge the chili competition for the state finals. The only problem is, with COVID, we're not doing the chili cook-off yet. At least it hasn't been sanctioned completely. It's normally during Labor Day and that Saturday, but it's been postponed at this point, so I will get to you also. And second place, we'll get that same type of bowl, okay? There we go, okay, with the second place. These are amazing. I don't know if you have the opportunity. It's kind of like the ones that we got for the farm show during the 100th anniversary. And he just did a really great job, along with the cutting board and with our logo on it. And that goes to Rashida Carter. Also, Rashida, the work that you did and the time and the effort that you put into your project was amazing. I asked you to do a little bit different things. Not only did I ask you to come up with the recipe, but I required you to show the mise en place in a picture, it cooking in a pot in a picture, the display in a picture, and anything else that you wanted to send me to sell your product and also to sell things. So we came up with the Judges Award, and once again, you won't be able to see it. I can't do it justice. Maybe I'll look through the hole, you can see it. There we go. It's really neat. Oh, I feel like Miss Marcia. Yeah. Really, really neat grained cutting board. You deserved it. You earned it. It was amazing. Really enjoy. In fact, I made a batch of both chilies, and I enjoyed both of them. My 12-year-old grandson, who doesn't like anything other than pizza or spaghetti, had a second bowl of yours chili. So you're to be praised for that, let me tell you. He doesn't like Grandpa's chili either. So, all right. So for you two, congratulations, first of all. Second of all, what I need for you to do is to send me a copy by way of email. And my email is usually everywhere. I'm sure you can get it from Chef Autumn Patty. She can give it to you. I need a real clear picture. All the pictures you sent us, we had some issues with that. We also had some issues getting your recipes too. If you could send something clear to us, that'd be great. I need to get it to Flinchies, and we need to put it in our history also. And I'd be remiss not to thank Renee, Faith, and Chef Patty for all the help that you did putting this thing together and making it happen. So, and once again, I congratulate you, and I think it was a success. It's a shame we didn't do it during the school year when there was actually school going on. I think we'd had a lot better results. So, thank you.
Thank you, Chef. And again, thank you for hosting that, sponsoring it, judging it. Again, I think one of the struggles is not being able to try it actually, but they seemed great. So I was glad to hear that. Congratulations to you both as well. Thank you. All right. So I'm going to go ahead.
Chef, also, before I forgot to mention, if you two can shoot me an email today or tonight, did you put that in the notes? I saw something coming across there. If you could put it in the chat box, how to get a hold of me. I'd love to deliver these prizes to you this week sometime. So I'm retired. I live in Lemoyne, and I love to drive. So I will get it to you. You just tell me where. You all right? Thanks.
Okay, so it sounds like it might be beneficial if I connect all three of you with an email and just reiterate that you're looking for them to print out their pictures and their recipes, 3 copies of their packet, and send it to your address. You can provide your address, and they can also provide you, or have it that way when you can do a swap with when you're dropping off the prizes, and you're looking for their address. That way they can respond to you. Sound good? Okay. Just making a note so that I make sure. Okay. All right. Awesome. I want to move on then quick before we get into our education on the mise en place, the minutes from our last meeting, just in case there is some changes before we move on into new. I have sent it through an email. I've also sent it through, or it is on our website. I did want to make sure that everybody saw it and was able to view it. I wanted to do a quick little Q&A and ask, of course, my random question here. First question, if you could enter in the chat. I'm not able to see the chat, so someone's just going to have to know the answer already, and I'm sure there's a few that do. Who is our second ACF pastry apprentice so far and was valedictorian in 2019 from Lebanon County Secondary Program? I can't see the chat, but I know there's 2 people that should be able to give that answer real quick. Chef Peffley, Chef Coral, can you confirm?
Caitlin Nestle.
Awesome. I'm hoping there were several that knew that. Second question. Who was the 2020 top pastry student at Lebanon County Career and Technology Center and won first place at last year's gingerbread house competition at the school? right, Sean Mezek. All right. So I'm hoping there was tons of, in the chat, it just kept going on forever. I can imagine without even looking. So in our student spotlight, again, I thought Faith did a phenomenal job putting really a lot of enthusiasm into these. Thank you for that, Faith. I did include Tarragon of the Month. This month is Umami, hopefully to come out here shortly in the newsletter. And then our locations, just as a reminder, this will all be here. And from this point out, we're looking at to be confirmed as we go along. I know our September 21st meeting is going to be confirmed as via Zoom. We're not going to have a physical location there. So was there any questions, discussion, anything on the minutes that anybody had? You will need to unmute yourself.
I move we approve the minutes as written.
I second that, Brian Pefley.
Thank you.
Well
I have
done.
Chef Grace. Thank you. And Chef Pefley. The motion is to approve the minutes as they are written in the July mise en place. All those in favor, please unmute and say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Please say nay. All right, we'll go ahead and pass those. Awesome. Thank you very much. At this point, I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to the chair of our education committee, Anna Smith, who has coordinated our presentation for this evening. Thank you so much, Anna. If everyone else will please mute yourself, and that way Anna can take over at this point.
Okay. Tonight we have Chef Jay Vargas from the JDK group with us. He's going to be talking about how JDK group catering company is dealing with the coronavirus and how they are adapting. JDK is the biggest catering company in our area. They've won Simply the Best, I don't know, 10 years in a row, something like that. And they're also internationally award-winning catering company. So, Jay, I'm gonna unmute yourself and get started.
Well, again, thank you very much for having me tonight. I definitely see some familiar faces today. Those of you that, sit on the Hack Advisory Board that I get to see a couple times a year, even though it feels like it's been forever since we've all sat down together. But as Anna said, I'm the executive chef of the JDK group. I oversee the entire culinary operation. And just like all of you have felt, the COVID-19 really took a toll on our business. And we've had to adapt in several different ways. Pretty much it just seemed, and it doesn't seem like long ago, me and some of my team were out in Las Vegas for a conference, and we won an award for catering, and we were ready to come home and celebrate. And by the time we got home, the entire country was shut down. And we actually went almost 2.5 months without an event. So, unlike restaurants, we depend on large events and weddings and social gatherings. And pretty much from March 16th until May 26th, we went silent. And, we had to deal with a lot of layoffs. And like I said, I'm sure just about all of you know the exact pain that I feel when it came to all of this. But what we had to do is learn how to adapt. So being a catering company, we decided to figure out what we could do to really change the scale of business that we do and how we can kind of make face and help the community. So first and foremost to me was helping out all of our people in our industry. I was very lucky to pair with John Gross Company when all this started to happen, and really they donated over 500 pounds worth of food that really was going to go bad. And the first thing we did was make sure that we made meals for not only our company, but families within our community. And I was glad that we served over 1,600 meals in almost a month, all from donations, because there's one thing that we know how to do is cook food. And just as much as we pushed to upscale and everything in our kitchen, I just hated to see that much food that was going to go to waste. So then from there, we pretty much had to redefine our whole business. So, if we weren't going to do events, how are we going to stay relevant? How are we going to continue to reach our community? So like most everybody did, we decided to go with the, take home route. We focus more on a family meal package. So we created several packages to purchase family meals that would last for up to almost an entire week, along with provisional packages as well. So anybody that didn't want to go and actually risk shopping or anything, we definitely took care of them with all the basics: milk, eggs, bread, anything that you could think of. We had several different packages to choose from. The next thing that we did, and currently are just rolling out, actually, is a whole box lunch program. Not just box lunches, but all virtual learning. So we knew that, Zoom was going to be a part of our life, and this is how all of us were meeting. So we figured, how could we still serve the community, even though we're not really catering their events, but we created all virtual packages. So people that are holding Zoom meetings and things like this could still eat and get fed and do the same thing. And we've had some success with it. We've definitely done a few virtual meetings where we've delivered to one location. We've delivered to 16 different locations. And that's definitely helped us. And one other thing that really is new to us, to me, to everybody, and that I never really thought I'd say, is I make daycare lunches now. There's a lot of great people in this community, and through some of our connections with people in the community, we were able to partner with UGROW daycare centers, and we worked out a contract. A lot of schools and facilities are moving away from preparing food on site because they don't have the resources to do that, and they can't put in the correct plans to focus on serving food and sanitizing all at once. They just don't have that type of capability and manpower. So we actually serve 6 different UGROW locations currently. Monday through Friday, we're averaging about 500 lunches a day right now. And we're actually working on a couple other schools currently to see if there's ways that we can help them out. The one crazy thing is you just don't know where life's going to take you sometimes, but you fight to still do what you love. And it's just a couple ways that we've pivoted. So that was pretty much the first couple months as we went through COVID and really had no business at all. And then it seemed like we started to gear up towards some normalcy a little bit. We started to feature micro weddings. People still wanted to get married and celebrate, but you just couldn't have large events. So micro weddings became our theme for a little while. We did several weddings between 12 to 18 people because, we couldn't pass that 25 mark with our staff. And we did several high-end micro weddings, which have been a blast, actually. As a caterer, you get so used to doing, events for 150, 250, 500 people. You really get to kind of dial that back a little bit and get a little more creative and have a little bit more fun. And so we've kind of pivoted towards micro weddings, and we are back into the full swing of actual weddings now. And even though we can't be inside because of the new mandates, we do work with several venues in the area that are able to have outside occupancy. So we are starting to see the events for 120, 150 people start to come back. Just everything's outdoors. And just like most places, we've had to invest in, shields for our stations. Buffet is a thing of the past. There's no more buffets whatsoever. So any type of station that you have to be chef tendered. We have the plastic shields in front. We pretty much had to create an entire task force team to lay out what the new sanitation rules look like and how that works, and pretty much retrain our entire staff on how events work. You get so used to doing something every week, and we've completely changed the face of how events look now. And we're just excited to start to get back into some things. Fall is still definitely not anywhere projected near what we normally project. Usually September and October are our 2 biggest months of the year. And we're lucky if we're going to hit 25% of that normal business within those 2 months. And then, really the fearfulness of wintertime, because if we still can't go inside with more than 25 people come wintertime, I don't know about y'all, but I'm not really wanting to be out in the snow for an event. So, it's already something that we're looking towards and seeing how we're going to weather that storm, if that's going to be our fate.
That's really great that you're adapting into schools, because you're right. I mean, that's something that, especially with having smaller groups of students there, if they're doing hybrid methods or ways to incorporate, I mean, talk about getting to know who your target market could possibly be now and adapting. I do see your van on the Hack campus where that Yugo is quite often. I'm like, what is that? Who's getting something catered? I have witnessed that. So
we drop off
you
the Hack
mentioned,
location every day.
and you mentioned that, having to lay off employees. I mean, were you able to bring a lot back, or were you having to let go the majority?
So when I got back from Vegas, and we got to sit down for a week, I mean, obviously we had to quarantine for the first little bit, but as we kind of let it play out for a week, unfortunately I had to lay off my entire staff, all the way up to my sous chef. So it was literally just me for the first month and a half after all this happened. There wasn't a lot going on. I mean, it's a sad thing, but in catering, if I don't have any events or anything to do, there's really not much to do. So, I had to lay off my entire staff. And even now with stuff coming back, I've been able to bring back 7 other people besides myself, which is still only a third of my staff it was this time last year.
Jay, do you find it difficult to get people to come back because or as a result of the stimulus money that was given out on a weekly basis through the federal government?
So most definitely, that was definitely a challenge. I will say I have a pretty solid core team that was just itching to get back into the kitchen. So I only had a couple people that really were not interested in coming back right now, and I think the hardest part is the people that I was able to bring back is filling out their comfort level and their mental health and where they're at with this. They were eager to get back to work, but once I told them they had to be out on a station in front of people, that completely changed the game for them. So I do have some employees that I have to watch what events I put them on and everything, because they absolutely will not be. They don't want to be around guests. They just want to be in the back in the kitchen, and that's where they feel the most safe. And unfortunately, half of our events right now are stationed events. I have a lot of people that don't want to switch over to a full serve dinner, which I don't understand really why not. But we're seeing an influx in station events with multiple stations, and every single station has to be chef tendered. We've had to alter just about every menu that we've had, sign contracts with all of our brides and other event people, because if they had a buffet or they had any type of station, that just no longer was an option.
Jeff, as a company, do you have requirements for, let's say that you are doing a wedding, it's outside, all of your staff are wearing masks and none of the guests are wearing masks? Is there, because I could understand from your employee's point of view that I'm standing there, and from what we've heard, a mask protects you from me, not the other. So, I mean, how do you overcome that? And do you have any sort of agreement in your contract or anything else?
So first and foremost, we have a no harm contract that everybody signs. So right off the bat, if you want to move forward with your event and everything, you have to sign that contract. But unfortunately, yeah, there's a lot of people out there that it's very hard to social distance. So when you get into larger events like that, there are definitely several people that refuse to wear a mask, especially if you're outdoors. It was a little bit easier when we were still able to be indoors, because we kind of managed those venues, and we were able to say, like, look, this is the mandate. There's really no option here. We actually as much as we didn't want to, we actually turned away a wedding because we knew that they had several guests coming in from Florida, and they refused to follow any protocols. And at the end of the day, as much as we're hurting and we need every single event that we can get, the safety of our employees is also at the forefront of all that. So, some people just refuse to do it, but even now, I will say most people have been pretty good. A lot of the events that we are doing are a little bit smaller currently, and they're family and they're at people's houses and things like that. So they're still not too keen to wearing the mask, but I'd say at least 80 to 90% of people usually wear their mask at events.
My next question, and feel free if anyone else has another one to pipe in. What kind of challenges have you found being where most of your events are outdoors? Have you had to accommodate, I mean, you said about changing up the menu, but what about equipment? You know, have you had to change anything up there to be able to perform just as well now?
So the hardest thing really has been the fact that we have a very small staff still. So I have some kitchen staff. We've reduced our sales team down to only a couple members. We have a couple operations members. We have no more rental teams or anything like that. So it really gets strategic when it determines what type of equipment is needed for an event. I'd say now I still try my hardest not to send ovens to events, even though that was standard. We send an oven to every event, every wedding, because we were cooking large amounts of food. But we really just don't have the manpower to be able to move all that equipment back and forth an hour away, loading trucks, unloading trucks. And so we've gotten a little creative on, I mean, most of my chefs are trained on how to Schaefer cook and hot box cook. And Anna will be able to tell you some of the fun times.
Oh yeah, I can Schaefer cook a thing of chicken in 30 minutes. Oh yeah.
But most of my staff is already trained on things like that, because you just never know out on site. You get an empty propane tank, all of a sudden your oven doesn't fire. You can't depend on that oven all the time. So I'd say the biggest part is just the fact that we just don't have the manpower to move all the equipment around. But as for the actual production of everything, my team is still pretty confident in what they do.
Chef, what award did you win in Vegas?
So we just brought home the International Award for Best Main Course for a Catered Event.
Nice. Was that through Catering Magazine?
It's in the ICA Cater Source magazine, yes.
Yeah.
We were up against a company out of South Africa, and then I think the other company was in Texas. But yeah, we just won Best Main Course for a Catered Event for 2019.
I can tell you that, and kudos to you guys. I was at in Philly when you guys put on that amazing dinner at they literally took an old, and I do mean an old, wore down by the wharf building and just turned into a nightclub. It was amazing. And you guys just do a great job whatever you step into. It's just, formed into a beautiful event. So congratulations.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
And now, Chef, you had, and yes, definitely congratulations on that. Chef Harris, go ahead. I see you have a question. Mine will keep.
Jay, the holiday season's coming up. You're probably in the mode to start getting meased out for all of that stuff. But are you seeing a tremendous number of those caterings already going by the wayside? And do you think you'll be at 25% or less for holiday parties?
Yeah, I mean, I think 25% would be crossing our fingers right now. It really just changes. Before the new mandate came out where we went back down to 25 people indoors, I mean, we really were ramping up. I mean, we were hiring people back. Everything was really starting to slow. Our September and October were looking like they were going to stay steady. And then that new mandate hit, and out of nowhere, I mean, all of our business started to postpone. Now, we have been pushing a lot of people to postpone. We've had some cancellations, but just about everybody has moved to 2021. So all we can do is hope for that. But yeah, our biggest worry right now, and something that we're trying to pre-plan for, is the holiday, because if nothing changes on the mandate or anything there, we could be looking at 0 events besides anything that's going to be just outside catering, such as like to-go meals or box lunches or anything like that.
Right, especially with the reduction in people on the inside. You've got people are going to start getting scared again, and people just aren't doing their civic duty by wearing their masks. So recent article today in PennLive.com a bunch of restaurants just in Dauphin County announced that they're shutting down today. They're not reopening. So it's gonna just continue to cascade down and down. The bigger companies, the franchises, they're gonna all stay in business, but and the large caterers and hotels, but the small guy, the mom and pop, they're just going away.
Yeah, it's very sad, and why I encourage everybody to always support small business.
Hey, Chef, this is John Reese. I got a question right now. Since you do a lot of outdoor events, I mean, you have to have a backup plan unless you have a tent that you can close on the outside if it rains or if it's cold. You know, especially the winter time comes, the winter functions. If you don't go outside, I mean, you have to do it outside, so you have to have all that stuff as a backup, right? I mean,
Yeah,
what do you do right now?
So most of our events are tented right now that are outside. And we're pretty much, if they don't want a tent, we're trying to push them to get a tent because there is no backup plan. So if you decide not to have a tent and it rains that day, I don't know what else to tell you, but we told you so.
And you provide. Do they pay for the tent, or you have to include the tent rental in your cost right now?
We let them have that option. If they want to get their own tent, they're more than welcome to. But if they don't want to go through all that, which normally they don't, then yeah, we build it into their contract and we take care of it.
Thank you very much.
Okay, I'm going to jump in with my question now. I actually have two. So the first question, Chef, is you had mentioned about your family meals, and I know you said there's a couple options, and it sounded like maybe kits to make food at home. Do you have, thinking of the holidays, is that something that you guys are considering doing, a family, Thanksgiving meal package? I feel like you've done something like that, I've seen, but.
So yeah, we're definitely gearing up for Thanksgiving and Christmas style packages. When all this started, Easter was the first holiday that was coming up, and we actually did very well with Easter in our packages. And then same for Mother's Day. Father's Day, we rolled out grilling kits and things like that, where you could purchase all different types of meals to either do yourself or we would do for you. And then we provide the cooking instructions to finish them off. But yeah, we just actually redid our whole JDK at home packages and released 7 new packages, all for 4 to 8 people. And we'll let that ride probably until middle October till we look to roll out holiday take home packages.
Cool. And we'll definitely for sure look for those. The other question I had was, I think every time I listen to some webinar or something about the catering trends is how the buffet has gone for good. And I know you had mentioned you can't do a buffet anymore. They all have to be chef tendered. How do you see this impacting this part of the industry long term? A year from now, let's say vaccines there, masks are off. Do you see any long-term effects in your industry, specifically with the buffet?
I don't think we'll see buffets for a couple of years. Even with the vaccine and everything, I think 2021 at least is out the window for buffets. I think you will see, we'll still stay with the station things. There's really no difference except I have a chef serving you the food instead of you getting it yourself. But as for like self-serve items, I think that's pretty much gone to the wayside for at least all of 2021 as well. From what I'm seeing and everything. It's not just buffets. A basic event. So we start off with butlered hors d'oeuvres, which we have to space out. Everything has to have their own individual vessel now. And even with the mandates that did happen where you had to be, for restaurants and everything, to be served food, you had to be sat at a table. So there was a few events that we actually had to completely get rid of butler hors d'oeuvres and do almost like a several course meal where they got 2 hors d'oeuvres followed by 2 hors d'oeuvres followed by 2 hors d'oeuvres before we even got into salad or anything else. And it became a served hors d'oeuvre type of meal because we just weren't allowed to walk around with trays of food because of the mandates. So anything self-serve has really just been shut down altogether. And even butler hors d'oeuvres now, we can still do some of them, but like I said, there's so many rules behind it own vessel, own napkins, no touching. Everything has to be plastic.
That sounds like a lot for sure. Does anybody else have any questions for Chef Varga while we have him? I don't want to take up your whole Monday night. Not that there's any football or anything to watch, but sorry to bring up a downer point. Does anybody else have any questions?
I do have a question for you, Chef.
Yeah.
Right now, did you have to adjust any prices at all? I mean, with the extra labor, extra things that you might have to do, did you adjust the prices at all? Like some places increase prices because of the, did you have to do any of that stuff?
So on the food cost side, not really, but on the labor side, most definitely. So again, going back to buffets and all that, if you had a buffet prior and I had to change it to a chef tendered station, I had to put more staff on. So if you wanted that option, you were going to have to pay for the extra staff for that to happen. So we did, most of our price changes came on the labor side.
All right. Thank you very much.
Okay. Anyone else have any questions for Chef?
I don't really have a question. I was talking to Jay earlier, and I asked him a question, and he answered it for me. But I thought it was interesting, so I figured I'd bring it up. One things I noticed is one of the venues that he uses, they put up pictures of the tents that they were renting for these events and stuff, and the walls were closed on the tents. They had walls, and I had asked if I was allowed because of the rules now, because technically it was enclosed space, and he had mentioned that they don't really specify with tents whether they can be closed or not. So I thought that was interesting.
So and it's funny because even after you left today, and I actually inquired, I actually pulled Steve aside and asked that question myself, and so pretty much, even though there's no specifics on the fact about walls on tents and that becoming an enclosed space, they are still allowed to put the walls up, but we still have to space all the tables 6 feet apart and all of that we would do inside anyways. So I mean, bless a little loophole here and there, we are still technically outdoors even though we're under a tent. So as long as we follow the guidelines of spacing and social distancing and all of that, then the walls, are perfectly fine to have. But I've only seen one wedding put walls up so far. Most people, it's still too hot for all of that.
If I add something to some of the comments about the restaurants and about the maximum, the mandates, not in North Carolina, we stopped for dinner. We're down at Atlantic City. Atlantic Beach is owned by a little bit way past Outer Banks. And we went to restaurants Saturday night to pick up food. And we were so busy, and the restaurant inside was packed. Luckily, we didn't go inside. We went outside for our food. But I didn't see anybody with masks. People outside waiting, nobody had any masks. And the owner came out with our food. He had mask on. Go to a grocery store, a gas station on there. If 50% of people have masks, we're lucky. But no wonder North Carolina sometimes in such a bad shape. I mean, nobody wears masks. I mean, nobody. I mean, it's like I'm not sure what the law is, if they have any mandates in North Carolina, but I mean, compared to Pennsylvania, Pennsylvania, you go to the grocery store, 99% of people have a mask on over here. If you're lucky, 50% of the people have masks on. And there's still signs in front of the restaurants or in front of the doors, but I guess they don't follow them as good as we in Pennsylvania.
Well, look at the curve, John. Look at the curve south in the southern states. They're all becoming red. They're the next New York. They're the next Texas. It's because they just don't listen. So I shall climb down off my soapbox and not bore everybody.
You're right.
I can jump in. Being from the South, I have family scattered all over the South. I have family in Alabama. I have family in Florida, and I have family in North Carolina because that's where I'm originally from. And yeah, all of them. There's no mandates. They've pretty much have free will, and if they're not forced to do it, they're not doing it. So as much as they drive me crazy, and I let them know that they're the problem, and why we're stuck like this. It's definitely a lot more lackadaisical in the South than it is up here. I will say that.
I'd like to step in here a minute. Out here in Oregon, we're all to wear masks, even for food. To go into a restaurant, you have to have a mask on to go in to eat. They do social distancing, but once you've placed your order, you're allowed to take your mask off. But she's the governor, who I don't agree with, but I agree with the masks. She's going to start putting more mandates on if they don't start doing more, because our numbers are climbing out here and it's not good.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if y'all saw, but UNC Chapel Hill in North Carolina had only been in school for 1 week. They had to shut down today. No more in-class learning after 130 new cases of coronavirus in the last 2 days.
And that's just the beginning. Every school's going to be remote, I bet, no later than the end of September.
That's not very comforting coming from a mother of 2 young children in elementary school.
No, it's not. It's not. Jay, very informative. Thank you.
Yes,
Thank you. It was
yes.
good stuff.
Just remember, Autumn, you have the white jacket. You just need the padded room.
Hey, Autumn, just have to listen with them. Little kids do not get the virus. I mean, they don't get it. They're immune to that.
That's my boy, Johnny. That's my boy.
Have you ever seen a kid after the first week of school? Like, you could tell in any room. Yeah. Thank you so much, Jay. Chef, we really appreciate it. Does anybody else last minute questions? I think we kind of all strayed off the.
I just want to, Chef, thank you for fighting the fight in these tough times, and thanks for sharing your input, because I was just texting Bob. We have ideas of what the Hilltop Cafe at our school is going to look like, and you just reiterated and just solidified everything that we had in mind. So I do appreciate your insight onto that as we move forward. If we move forward, we'll have to wait and see.
And again, I want to thank all y'all for having me. I mean, we're all in this together. It's definitely something that is really hurting our industry, and we're not all going to come out of it, which is the sad thing of it. But I appreciate y'all having me today, and at any point, I'm more than welcome to talk with anybody, share anything, any of our guidelines that we've put in place, anything that we're doing. If anybody has any other questions or anything, please never hesitate to reach out to me. I'm here for all of you, help however I can. And yeah, we're all in this together. Catering, restaurants, whatever it is, we're hospitality, and we're gonna sink with the ship together. That's for sure.
I've once quoted that we're all in a different boat in the same storm. So yes, definitely in it together. Chef, your innovation, the way of, again, I've seen your vans on campus. I know you're getting into, where you can and really looking at things differently. I really appreciate your time tonight. Thank you very much, Chef. And I will have that advisory meeting very shortly, as soon as I can, get the first set of classes ready to go for next Monday. I'll be in touch soon, for sure.
I look forward to it.
Great. Thank you again, Chef. Appreciate it. And you can feel free to hang out if you, want to hear the rest of our meeting, by all means. I know you have to get going, but
I'm gonna kick it and see what y'all got going on.
all right, cool. Thank you. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and move on then to our president's message. So that was my next section there. I'm just going to go ahead and make sure that everyone is on mute. I still do not have Bob Roebuck recalled in, if anyone's able to help me with that. In the meantime, though, I would like to start off. I went to the ACF National Convention. It was virtual, so I was in my same spot that I am every other day, right here in front of the computer. I attended quite a few of them, and I'll be honest, I felt like I was watching TV and channel surfing back and forth, because it was like, this was cool for a few minutes, and then, oh, let me check out what else is going on. So let me give you a few highlights if you only have a few minutes to watch any of these. September 17th is how long they're available for. You pretty much have to log on to the event center, and then there's an on-demand video. I did hear that it was coming on to the ACF Learning Center. Although I have not seen it, I went today to look for it to see if I could find it so that I could verify that for you. I do not see it yet. However, if you registered, you have access to all of these. Just a couple cool ones that I had was, here was this agriculture from a culinarian's perspective. This guy went through an entire cucumber every part of it, the leaf, the plant, the stem, well, the flowers, each stage of the cucumber as it grew, really kind of took you through a lot of different products, which was cool. This happy hour, let me jump right to what we're all excited about. This guy had a torch going, like a creme brulee torch going over his drinks and started grating fresh nutmeg, which I thought was just awesome. An awesome technique to get that kind of roasted flavor in there. If all of you have heard this before, you know, forgive me, it was the first time I thought it was pretty cool. There was plenty of great ones, but one of the ones here in room 2, I did listen to the Hawaiian Islands and the state of the culinary industry. I feel like a lot of this we've heard again and again. R.L. Schreiber introduced to a lot of different spices. This International Pastry Trends and Flavors, Jason Licker, all about matcha. And if you haven't watched it, I can sum it up in one line: only buy good matcha. He was all about the quality that you can get and how that can make the different dishes. I did like how his dog barked while he was trying to pound on his countertop, because I think some of us have been there before, thinking someone's at the door. In any event, this Jennifer Booker did a nice pork and croûte with an apple duxelle. That was pretty cool. I definitely really liked, there was a African cuisine kind of, you know, torn in with the South there, or I should say infused with the South. I believe it was in room 3 here. They did a really good cooking demonstration where you could see him cutting up the actual vegetables and with the knife skills. And it really, it was more than just someone cooking something from everything already measured out and prepared. He started from the beginning, he measured things out, he cut them. I thought that was a really good one. And then it does continue on. Again, there's some great ones here. Here's that African gastronomy that I was talking about, the American South meets African flavors. And then I personally always enjoy Walter Stive. I believe Chef Reese, you were on and said hello to him at the same time. That was something that was pretty cool. The chefs were in the chat room. So even though I didn't think it was that cool, it really was, because you got to ask them different things, and I got to see, you know, their response and just kind of their humor brought into a lot of things. You could tell they were watching their video too, and they got to, oh, I meant to emphasize this, and you got a little bit more out of it. By far, my favorite one was Emerald's pastry chef Jeremy Fogg. I don't know if anyone's had the privilege of seeing him. I know the Knowledgeable team and I did last year, but he did a puff pastry that was inverted. How is that, do you ask? The butter is encasing the dough instead of the dough encasing the butter. Talk about a hot mess, but man, did he do it. You know, he used parchment paper, and he really rolled out butter, and then he put the dough in it, and then butter again, rolled it out, did the folds, refrigerated it obviously, and then brought it back out, rolled in the opposite direction, kept folding it. I mean, there was so much butter on the outside, and it turned out really crisp and kind of, it looked hard, but it trapped all the moisture in it. And it was just a cool concept, and it was something he was trying at home, and he hadn't perfected yet, but really wanted to challenge himself, you know, especially during this time. So I thought that was an awesome one to watch. If there's only 1 or 2 you get to watch. Incredible eggs too, as much as I felt like I already knew about eggs. This was really cool, just looking at different regions of the world and how eggs really played into their recipes. And then, like I said, Walter Stive was at the end. He did the closing. You did have award ceremonies presented, and the virtual awards that last Friday, unbeknownst to me, I did try and ask and find out information. I didn't realize that it was going to be live on Facebook. I was kind of looking for an email for us to all be able to join in on that. I knew it was going to be on a virtual platform. I guess that's my age, not knowing that a virtual platform means Facebook. But in any event, I really enjoyed, you know, being able to check these out. And it was a couple minutes here, a couple minutes there, and then to go back. But I'll be honest, I think I'm in the same boat as all of you. If I didn't have the time to watch it that day, I'm probably not going to go back and watch it, you know, too many other times. But knowing that it's here, if you do have access to it, if you did register, September 17th, all of these videos are available for you to view. The next thing that I wanted to...
Hey, Autumn.
Yes.
While you were going over those, I found one of them really exciting, and that was the Photography 101.
Yes, thank you.
If you take, you know, I do 35 millimeter, I do 50 millimeter, but that lady did stuff with a regular cell phone that was just amazing. She showed you how to do it. All the little things when you go into edit, I didn't know that was all there. I have to go into my computer and then unplug it. And she was great. And so if you're struggling and if you want to make your photography with your iPhone or your whatever other kind of phone you own, and she went over all of them, that is an awesome hour of your time.
Agreed. Thank you. And that made me think of one other one too that was awesome, was the competition plate. Faith, faith, hint, hint. And any other students, you know, here was Scott Craig, chef, had gone through and really, I mean, it doesn't apply to all, but I think aspects of it apply to all. But the whole, you know, getting in your mental zone of no matter how much you practice this dance, how much you're good to go at it, the idea that now all of a sudden you're on stage and everyone's staring at you, who wouldn't be nervous at that point, you know, and just how to mentally prepare and everything. Those two, yes, I really wanted to mention, and I was hoping that I could follow back up. So thank you, Chef, for mentioning the photography, and then this competition plate I wanted to note too. Thank you for that. Okay, next I see Michael was hanging out just for this, but the Board of Governors meeting is where I wanted to jump in there too, just to sum up where we've been, or you know what was expressed. And Chef Tom Macrina is our now residing president, and he will be throughout the remainder of the term. This is the first time this has happened, so it's not in the bylaws as to what necessarily happens from this point as far as an extent of terms. And I'll get to that with a bylaw change here that I mentioned in a few minutes. But Chef Macrina did start off with, you know, addressing right away Chef DeCambra's resignation, and he said pretty much the same thing. We all know the same thing. He made a personal decision. There's a lot of rumors going around, and just wanted to pretty much kind of just put the kibosh on it that he made a personal decision. And one of the main rumors is about the debt that our entire organization is in. And that would be $1 million line of credit that we have developed over the last quite a few years, since 2014. And that currently sits at $990,000 of our current line of credit, and it has been voted on to not exceed $1 million moving forward. But that is a huge concern, and I think that kind of started spinning around with all of a sudden our president resigned, what's going on? And again, I don't know a whole lot of information, but he did, Chef Macrina did spell out a few items that just kind of summed up to that $1 million, if anyone cared for. In 2014, $858,000 loss that year, where they maxed out a $500,000 credit. In 2015, $118,000 was lost for an event. In 18, $2,000 went to updating all the regional exams. In 2019, $220,000 were already paid out in hotel deposits. And they listed, which again, Chef Herons is here too, you know, which sounded like legitimate causes, yes, to get us in the toboggan we are now. So the focus is, this conversation should have started a long time ago, but instead of looking behind us, the conversation now needs to start. We need to focus on three main issues. How do we, you know, adapt and invest in our organization and make it appeal to this younger generation that, you know, we don't necessarily, what appeals to us may not appeal to them as much. How to, like I said, invest in that and pay off the credit that we already have, and then how to continue to survive during a really, really hard time in our industry right now. So that seems to be the three main focuses moving forward. And there was a lot of talk, I gotta tell you, so much centers around the community aspect and the chef's table and, you know, get on chef's table. I just would like to let you know that I have a bronze membership now with the chef's table. I mentioned our website, speaking of videos. So many people across the country. This is great. This is great. We'll be able to use this. You know, I've connected with the gentleman from the Culinary Pro site. Michael, I know you've used that and you've referenced that a few times also. But just making connections that way. I did post our meeting. I wanted to make sure that everyone was invited, knew about it. It seems like everyone has their meetings generally on the same nights. So that's something to explore, you know, kind of co-joining in for education and then maybe separating out for individual business. But there was a lot on memberships. Again, now we're changing to a monthly membership payment option. And again, the online learning center, which will have, you know, even more resources and is still widely available to everyone. Moving forward, the events in 2020 are going to, or 2021 are going to be much smaller. We still have the 2020 Chef Connect in Nashville, but in 2021 we're looking at Tucson, St. Louis, and Pittsburgh. So there will be three. They're looking at maybe a hybrid option, but again, they're going to wait and see how that plays out. There were two new chapters that were initiated in Ecuador and East Florida. And that brings us to a total of 168 chapters, just under 14,000 members, of which 188 are ours, which is over 50% student populated as well. Okay, and then on to the whole finance. This was our most exciting part, I believe. James Taylor went through an entire treasurer's report that I really believe was a good 30 minutes long, at least. But he, yes.
Poorly, I might add.
Okay, I thought you were going to add something constructive. So he showed a bunch of numbers. He showed a bunch of spreadsheets. He showed how from one year, let's say, I think I wrote down 2018, we made $34,000 at a convention. And then in 2019, only 3,000 was profited from that. So just showing how trends, we're making a little bit here, but membership's down. I mean, Michael, is there a better way to sum that up? Here's how much we owe, $990,000 on line of credit yet.
Yeah, over and above the fact that they've overspent and done a poor job of managing the finances, that's neither here nor there at this point. It's now, how do you dig out of it? And how do you dig out of it without impacting value to the general membership? So and Brian can speak to this quite clearly, my beef has been with the organization for a very long time, especially with accreditation since I've joined that committee, is what is the value for the price paid? I don't think that we provide enough value as an accreditation commission, nor do I think we get enough value as as a member of this general organization. I tend to find that it is run by stodgy old men who can't think past the immediate future, and we need to be thinking 5 and 10 years out. There is no one challenging the leadership, and there is no one challenging the electorate on how will we get out of this and how will we have a viable organization in the long run. And I during our accreditation meeting, I said that. I asked Tom, I said, Tom, all this giant debt, where did this come from? And he said, I don't know how this happened. Well, if we all remember correctly, he was the president for the previous 2 years. So if you sit here and you tell me you can't tell me where this debt came from, then why are you in the current position you're going to be in? And how are you going to manage us out of here? So over and above all that, we believe that Mark Wright has a plan. It's not, nobody's been privy to it. Mark Wright was nominated to run for president. He's one of the nominees. And I also nominated Davey Ivy Soto for national treasurer, because we actually need somebody. Whether David is the right person or not is up for debate, but we need somebody who's going to go in there and take a hard look at this and run it like the business that it is. And if we can't do that, then we can look at kissing our general membership goodbye in the next 2 to 3 years, because $1 million hole is a huge thing to try to climb out of. Now, I'm not privy to a lot of details. I don't know what their plan is. I do know that our commission chair is very much and very aggressive on the financing side with the controller. I know that the commission went from, Brian, 90K in the hole in 18 to 2019, we were 180,000 above. So a lot of that was collections up front. A lot of that doesn't have any expenses pushed against it from 2020, because we've been delayed over a series of these last few months with the health issues. But we are, from a commission point of view, we are very aggressive in asking for accountability. We are very aggressive at holding Tom McCrana accountable and his feet to the fire to have a good understanding of where this money is going, how it's going to be spent, and how will they take us into the next generation of general membership.
If I may say, if it wasn't
Please.
for accreditation, the Federation would be even in worse shape, because the accreditation has been keeping the Federation afloat for many, many, many years. We've had failure in conventions. That's why I shake my head. I mean, our industry is hurting so bad, as Jay just said, and, we're talking about having a convention. I mean, seriously, it's nonsense. There are a lot of chapters out there. One in particular, Florida, is doing some really outreach things like Jay was talking about his company's doing. You know, and I think that's where the focus needs to be. And I say that again, you know, I don't understand where the vision is. I mean, we're losing restaurants that will never ever come back. And you know, and we're spending money, and we have spent money that first of all, it's not even our money, you know. At one time, our organization had 22,000 members. We now have barely 14. And when you don't have volume and you don't have, you are strength in numbers, as Michael had said. So, you know, we're now looking at schools, you know, trying to retain the schools that we have and expand the ones. But it's very, very hard to expand when schools aren't, that is not their priority. Accreditation is not the priority. It's survival, just like in restaurants. It's surviving, and you know, there are many family consumer science programs. I see it in the ProStart arena that they are closing, that they do not see that it is appropriate to spend money on a teacher to do a virtual cooking demonstration, because they do not feel that that is the proper way to teach. And we are watching culinary high school programs being shut down in the ProStart arena, which only it's a matter of time. You know, Chef Coral and I have looked at this, you know, all of our sending schools are running a deficit right now. And we rely on their budget to support our school, as many of them do in our area. So, you know, it's only a matter of time. If things don't turn, as Jay was saying, you know, we're going to see an even bigger ripple effect. And I'm sure it's happening at HAC as well. Numbers are probably down, or, you know, they're doing virtual, but it's not the same teaching, as we know. So, you know, I don't want to beat a dead horse. I just appreciate everybody who's doing and trying to stay afloat. And I think that's the positive thing that we got to look at. We got to do what we can to the best of our ability, no matter what the circumstance we are in, because that's what we are. We're chefs and we're fighters, and that's what we do. We do it breakfast, lunch, and dinner, 7 days a week, 24/7, 365 days a year. And I think that's the mentality we're going to have to do. And hopefully, you know, we can ride this wave out.
Can I add from a couple different perspectives? Recently coming back out in the industry, so the retirement village that I work for is now under contract with Compass and Morris Living. So we were just kind of bought out, kind of, July 1st. So from a company as big as Compass and Morris Living and all its entities, this is where ACF has to wake up, okay? Because these companies that have very high-end chefs, certified chefs through ACF, no longer see ACF as a value. And we've always said that we've had a problem attracting and retaining professional chefs. And so being adapted into this company and all its different venues, and you sit around the table and they're like, oh, that's great, chef. You're a member of Harrisburg. Well, you know, we don't really look at ACF as anything that we want to invest in. You're talking about a company that is the 6th, 7th largest employer globally. And they don't see a value and will support my venue or my, you know, a participation in ACF. So if I'm going to do it, it's on my own. And I have a multi-billion-dollar company that I work for. So the old guard and ACF National better really start sitting around the table and identifying what is going to be the value for chefs that are out there and for chefs that are involved with, you know, with these companies, because the companies aren't going to support it.
And you know how you do that, Tim?
How is that?
That's everybody I'm looking at on this screen needs to hold their not only their chapter president accountable, no offense on them because you're doing a great job, but your regional vice president accountable, and you need to get out there and you need to make your voice known. If you've got an issue because the lack of value with this organization, then get your fingers typing and get on chef's table, because that's the latest and greatest thing. I quite frankly think it's a piece of shit, piece of framework. But you know, that's all we have. I've asked for repositories. I've asked for best practice locations. I've asked for a ton of things, and we aren't getting them because we aren't able to leverage the technology because we're just so far behind. So the best thing we can do is to just vote for the right person. Right now, I'm all in on Mark Wright. I don't know if that's going to stand because I'm going to sit and listen to what he has to say. I'm going to look at who his opponents are. I'm going to do the same for treasurer. If I find somebody who's going to be better than David, the person that I nominated, I'm likely going to vote for the person who is best for the organization.
I will say, Michael, if I can interrupt, it's beyond our officers because they're only in for 4. We need to have a really intelligent look at our executive staff that we're paying salaries for, and really need to look at what value for what we're paying for these people. All these other people are all volunteers, and they're all volunteering for whatever reason. Some are for status, some are for, you know, they feel like they have a mission, but they're volunteers and they're here today and gone tomorrow. They you know, by the time they start something, they're done, they're over. But our paid staff at the national office needs to be held accountable. And if they aren't, they need to be removed. We need to not remove people that are doing good work, and we need to remove people when they aren't. And
Right.
I know if I was doing the level of a job that our executive director is doing, I'd be terminated, you know, 8 years ago. Having unsuccessful convention after unsuccessful convention that's bleeding, it's definitely not working. Maybe the virtual arena is better, you know, because more people can attend at their leisure, at their time. You know, and like you said, Michael, it has to be a total different look. And we need people, you know, we need people in education that are at the paid staff that are actively going after grant money that, and we don't have people that know how to do that. We don't have anybody at the national office that knows how to write a grant. We don't have anybody that's going after the federal money, and there's you know, millions and millions of dollars that we are not tapping into, and it's you know, frustrating.
Yeah, and when nobody really has.
1 more minute, Michael.
I'm going to close it out because I see there's a bunch of eyes glazing over, and I get it because this
It's
is
my president's message. I just wanted the feedback quick.
But it is holding it, and Brian is absolutely right. The whole structure has to change. You've got to get somebody in there with enough guts to say, this needs to be fixed. The executive director, this is your ball, not mine. I'm here as guiding. I'm here to guide you and speak for the membership. You are in the organization. If you can't do it, we need to find somebody that can. Brian, thank you for your input. Tim as well. Autumn, thank you for letting me vent. I'm sorry for the eyes glazing over. I want to thank everybody for joining us today and listening, but I'm going to go see my daughter who's leaving on Friday.
Good night, Chef. Thank you.
Good night.
Ciao, ciao.
So I'm going to finish now with the Board of Governors meeting and just a few quick notes. So I did appreciate, and I do, I wish we could sit here all night, but you know how much of an agenda we always have. So I agree, and I think something needs to be done. I'm hoping that we can discuss it here at a later meeting then as well. So just to finish up with the Board of Governors, they did at the end open it up for nominations for the national spots, and Barry Young was nominated for the Northeast Regional so that he could try for his second term there. As Michael had mentioned, Mark Wright, as well as Sarah Brown. Somebody help me out with her.
Kimberly Brock is running.
Kimberly Brock Brown, yes. She was also nominated. So the nominations are going to be open for several more months. And then as soon as we receive more information, obviously I'll get that to you as well. There were 2 bylaw changes. And from what I really read into it, it was pretty much streamlining them. One of them was saying that if you are on the board of directors, you may not be, or you may not vote. You can't vote in place of someone as a proxy. You cannot vote here on some of those national committees. And then also the term of office was just defined to where you can only hold 2 terms in each of those offices, whether they're consecutive or not. It doesn't matter if they're 20 years apart or consecutive. Twice you're president, and that's it. And that's where I was alluding to with Tom Akrina. He was president for the last 4 years. So this is now technically his third term. And the question came up, well, then how is that? And that was where, well, we haven't been in this spot before, so they are still figuring that part out. But the finance plan, the response to the questions, we were working on it. Mentoring, they said they were building a strong leadership and mentorship program, which I thought meant great. You're going to mentor as the leaders are emerging through. It will be on chef table, so we can look for a great spot there. Again, the chef's table, it is like an additional social media, like an additional Facebook page just for ACF members, and you get emails every time someone responds or posts something. It's great. Okay, so that was pretty much summing up my board of governors meeting. Susan Notter, I know she's not joining us because she was doing a demo in Alabama, but she won the ACF President's Medallion for the 2020, which I thought was great, and we had congratulated her. She was really excited. They announced that live on Facebook there for her. Lastly, just to touch on how we mentioned about the school, I personally, for HACC, so everyone's aware, we are doing a hybrid. Not a hybrid. I don't want to use that word. That's the elementary school for my kids. They're doing a hybrid method. What we're doing is a blended method. So our students are returning to campus once a week. Their lab will be almost a 4-hour lab, 4.5 hours for baking and pastry students. They will meet live with us on Monday to Zoom. We welcome them to the class. Here's what we're set up this week. What questions do you have? Let me give you feedback from last week. Let me make sure you're set up for lab. Online will be about 2 hours worth of content. That's where all those videos came into play, that we now have this content for them to see, because when they come, we're not gonna be able to demo stages out. We want them to already have it viewed. They're coming in the lab and just applying everything they've learned. We record videos, record lectures over PowerPoints. We take them through different tours of things using Screenomatic is what it's called. So we built all of the hands-on classes to be that way. Fortunately, it's a double-edged sword. We are maxed out, and we have been maxed out. Our classes, we have pretty much every class is at a max capacity, including some of our lecture courses. But that's because we had to lower our maximum down to 10. 10 is the most we can take in each of those classes. And I really want to say I worked extremely hard to reach out to each and every one of those students to make sure they all knew the changes. They could voice their concerns. I didn't want to set up in these classes that no one would take. So, I think we're in really good shape. We're starting classes next Monday. All instructors had to go through an approved blended training to be able to put these courses, and they're already pre-built, and I'm in them. They're really great. I'm really excited for our students. And then on a personal note, I got my kids' schedule, and I don't know how I'm gonna handle that one. But my kids go to school 2 days. They're home. I have a kindergartner and a 4th grader. So now between 3 different Zooms it's quite a challenge. So for anyone else out there with small kids, I hear you. But again, as we said, we're all in that same boat, right? Or that same storm, just a different boat. Okay, let me quick then take you to our treasurer's report. I'm gonna go ahead and show you the treasurer's report at this point, so that you have a visual. We did have some action this time, not just the 40 cents of interest. Okay, so the balance as of today was $9,521.96. Our checking account currently shows at $2,174.73. Now, I did want to make a note that check for $82.50 for the website design did go out, but has not cleared yet, just so that's reflected. It was a $10 service charge on our checking account and a total of $209 worth of ACF rebates deposited in 3 separate deposits, 2 days apart from each other, which seemed extremely odd, as though they're catching up. I'm just reporting we have $209 additional dollars from ACF rebates in there. Our savings account, I did deposit the check from PRLA that I received for the $600, which was for our insurance that they had sent to me. So I had that deposited, as well as, like I said, our whole 40 cents worth of interest. So this is our treasurer's report. And then I did mention and sum up what was mentioned then on the national level as well.
I move we accept the treasurer's report.
Thank you, Chef Guy. Do we have a second?
I second. Tim Harris.
Thank you. If everyone could unmute themselves, please. The vote is to approve the treasurer's report as written and reported. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any
Aye.
opposed? Great. Motion will carry. Thank you very much. Okay, that is the main part of my show. I'm going to then hand it off to Anna for the education and see what you have coming down the pike here, please. Oh, did I miss something? No, I didn't. Yes, Anna, go ahead. Sorry, I jumped ahead.
Right now, I'm working on getting someone in for next meeting to talk about making oils and vinegars. Chef Jay gave me the guy they use in Lancaster, Seasons. I reached out to them, and I'm waiting to hear back. So that's what I'm working on for next meeting, and then we'll go from there with October to see if we're going to be meeting in face to face or not.
Anna, have you been on Chef Table yet? It's okay to say no.
I looked at it, but I haven't like browsed.
Okay, the reason I'm saying is, and it's in the open forum, but there are a lot of chefs meetings being posted, and here's the education everyone's planning. But again, notice they're almost all at the same time. And I think the newest conversation now is, can we join our education presentations and maybe somehow coordinate with one or two other chapters to where, you know, we have from 7:15 to 8 o'clock is joining in on education, then we separate back out for our meetings, just as an option for you. I don't know if you consider.
Look into it.
All right, awesome. And like I said, we are confirmed that we will be via Zoom. I did even explore the option. I know a couple people have mentioned maybe can we get together outside somewhere, and again, I just, you know, at this point, I think that putting that on any restaurant wouldn't necessarily be a great choice right now, but thank you for keeping us in the loop of what you have going on. Anything else for the education?
Nope, not right now.
All right, thank you. Next, we have our competition committee, and as I mentioned, Susan Nodder was demoing at the same time there for the Birmingham chapter. So I know she's not here, and there are no competitions going on. However, we have a new local competition going on now that the Chili Bowl just ended. And Renee, between Renee and Faith, I would like you guys to announce and go over it here. I asked these two to put together something. I said I'm happy to be the judge and, you know, provide prizes. I wanted them to pick out something. I said maybe something with a garden or, you know, garden ingredients, something, and they know me so well. So Renee, are you on here? You can take it away.
Yes, I am. Yeah, so we were really looking for something that would allow students to be creative, change things up a little bit. You know, yes, we understand there's a lot of seriousness to things, but you know, the summer has kind of, you know, starting to come into fruition with all of your garden ingredients coming. You know, everything's so fresh, and hopefully there'll be some inspiration there. However, a taco allows you to have a lot of different options. It could be a vegan option, it could be a protein, as far as, you know, a beef or, you know, buffalo, bison, it could be fish. You know, I know Faith was looking forward to hoping somebody might do a dessert taco. So we thought it would be really nice to give them something that there was a broad spectrum of creativity, that they could, you know, come up with their really own individual idea. And although they'll still need we do have, you know, specific guidelines that they need to follow, and the recipes will certainly be reviewed. We're hoping that this will inspire a little more participation, and you know, kind of kick off as school's kicking off, also kind of get that, you know, all of that excitement going. So, Faith?
No, I think you hit it, Renee. I'm super excited for this one. And please, if you have a dessert taco or anything that you got going up in your head, I say get it down on that shell and submit it, please. But yeah, I mean, if you have any questions either, don't be afraid to reach out to Renee or myself or on the event page if you have a message. No, I think this is gonna be a fun one, especially for students that are getting ready to go back. I think this is a good sum up of the summer. And I have plenty of like cucumbers. If anyone wants to do like a pickle scene with theirs, please let me know. I got plenty from the garden and zucchinis. Willing to share.
The jalapeno peppers. I have that part under control. And we have this open through September 13th. That way it's a couple weeks into classes going. That way we can get students into it, you know, and not necessarily, you know, just put it in the next few weeks, knowing that some classes are just getting started. I think you guys hit this great. So we will have, so Renee, you're going to do an event page for this with just the date of the deadline as the
Right. I will post
as
it
we
as
kind
soon
of
as
arrange.
yeah, I already have it created. I just have to hit publish. So as soon as the meeting's over, it will be published.
Okay. And then, so it'll be on the event page, and then I have that. I would like to send it to all the instructors again, how I had done previously. You know, here's something to pass along with their students. I think that's probably the best route, and then just getting pictures up as we have them created. So awesome. Anything else where we have you, Renee, for social media?
Not specific. I just thought I would quick report on a few numbers. We are up to 105 followers on Instagram. Woohoo! So, also on Facebook, what I find is interesting is it does give you some statistics, and one of our posts in the month of August actually reached 522 people. So, you know, we are actually, you know, getting out there and making our presence known. I think what I really need to see or get from everyone is some original content. So a lot of times I'm kind of skulking in the background of everybody else's pages and sharing things, both on Instagram and on Facebook. But if there's any original content that you can send me, I know I ask this every meeting, you know, there may be something that you're working on or that you're doing outside of taking a picture on Facebook or Instagram, or maybe there's another platform that you're using, whether it's teaching or, you know, work or something like that. If you know, take those pictures, text them or email them to me, I would love to tell me a bit about it so that we could have some original content. I think that one of the things that would be great when we were talking about the, you know, ACF as a whole, maybe we need to start throwing in maybe every other month or maybe every 2 months an actual just our membership competition that includes both, you know, maybe both students and you know, and chefs, just for something fun. It doesn't have to be something that they have to do specific, but I'm just throwing out some ideas because it would be nice to get some original content from our members so I can highlight what everyone is doing. And just in the last 5 posts, we had engagement of 126 different people. So, you know, it's not just about our club, it's also about sharing that value to other clubs. And I think that we've been able to inspire other clubs with our website. And Anna's done a great job with education on the website. And I know Faith has been very involved in that. And so the more we can highlight our membership, then the more I think we can help highlight other clubs' memberships, and that should help everyone. So that's just my little 2 cents.
Awesome.
Send me your stuff.
And your email and your phone number to text you is in our newsletter. So if anyone's looking to get her information, I think Brian, you had sent me something in an email and I forwarded it to Renee, and right away she posted it on there. I'll say 99% of the time that's going to be my first move, is just to forward it to Renee. It's her ballpark, so I'm definitely happy to do that. So her information is in the newsletter there that you can grab too. Thank you, Renee. I appreciate it.
Ladies, you're doing a fantastic job, and consistency is the key. You know, you
Thanks.
keep posting and more people will, I know because of what you're doing, others are stepping up and doing it. I see more chapter activity because of what you're doing. So you're doing a fantastic job, you know, and those numbers keep going, and the more you can just keep it consistently going, that's the key. And you're doing a wonderful job. Really, really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Renee. Okay, so up next is Faith for speaking of student outreach.
All right. So I have 2 things. Number 1, thank you again for the student spotlight for everyone who read. And if you didn't read, I highly recommend you go in and read page 2. Sean and Caitlin, even though I've never met them, just by reading what their instructors submitted to me, speaks really highly of their character, and I can't wait to meet them. So definitely read them. I mean, it's just amazing what I see our chapter and our students are doing, and it's really heartwarming. I love doing it, and I can't wait to continue to meet further students. I am already working on next month's student spotlight, but I am running low on students. So if you have a student that you wish to spotlight, the survey is still open. I don't have any intentions on closing it. Chef Pat, I don't know if we can put the link back out there, or you can just contact me. I can put my email in the chat. Just send me a name and just a little bio or something I can type up about your student. But definitely give them a read. Another thing that I wish to bring to the chapter, and I hate to keep beating the dead horse again, but I heard from a bunch of students, my friends that are still students, and just through Facebook posts, with school starting back up, there's a little bit of a need for supplies. And I'm not talking like pencils, folders, more of protective equipment such as masks. And I don't know protocols or what each school or district is doing. Chef, I thank you for talking about HAC. Chef Peffley, I heard you talk about, tomorrow, you and Chef Coral, about what your plan is going to be moving forward, remote, hybrid, virtual. So definitely eager to hear what you guys and your students will be up to. But I would like to ask the chapter maybe to consider, if not move forward, to purchase some masks for our students within our district, our culinary and baking students. I did do a little bit of research. So every time I hear someone turn their speaker on, I'm like, is there a question? So I did a little bit of research and I got a little bit of pricing. But before I go into that, I know we have some students still on. If anyone wants to chime in or if someone just wants to add something before I just give all this information and everyone's like, yeah.
Anna's got her hand up because she put a Facebook post earlier.
I did. I have actually been making masks like crazy recently. I think I got like 30 of my own. But I have been giving them to people. I got a little station going on right there with my cat. So if anyone needs a mask, just reach out to me. I'm more than happy just to give them out. Even if HAC or anyone else, any of the schools want to reach out to me, I'm at time.
Sweet. That's awesome. I don't know how many we'd be thinking. I was thinking like just giving each culinary baking student a mask. Like when you come into the classroom, whenever that would be, don't have to say anything. Here's a mask. You forgot your mask tore, whatever, it got dirty. Here's a new one. So I don't know exactly how many.
I will tell you, Faith, with secondary, there is a grant that secondary we got for PPE. So we do have money for not only gloves, but also PPE if we do go back into session. So I do know secondary should be good to go because the money was allocated from the state. So I think it would be probably a HAC, issue. And I think it would be great. I think we should support the students any way they can in their labs and try to get a mask that works, but is also comfortable that they can function. Because there's a lot of masks out there, but some of them you can't even breathe in them because they're absolutely suffocating.
Yeah. Well, and I think you just hit that on the nail on the head there, Brian, because if right now our policies, they have to bring in their own masks. We have disposable ones if they forget them, but it is anything and everything you could possibly see. And, I have several and it's just because, well, this one I can hardly breathe. Well, this one seems to be better on, a sunny day. Who knows? I think that's something that, and that's what I was wondering as you're talking about this. I know, Anna, you're saying that you'd be willing to, but is there some way for us to almost just get a chapter mask, like a black mask that would work with the logo? I think now I'm going a little too far because I know classes are starting soon, but something that even if all the schools are providing, we can still give them another one from our ACF chapter. I mean, I like the idea. I was just thinking along those lines, and
I do know that there are a lot of organizations. I know one particularly in our county commissioner, Joellen Litz, is part of a committee, and that's all these ladies do is sew masks. And they're giving them away to organizations. And I don't know if Faith, you want to look on Facebook, Joellen Litz, but she is part of a group of several hundred women that are nothing but sewing these masks, and maybe they would consider donating. You know, what's nice about them too is they are washable, so you know they can be laundered. You know, and that's something the school, I don't know if you at HAC have your own laundry facility that, you know, you could collect them and then launder them and rotate them around. That might be an option. You know, funds are so short right now. It's so hard to ask for people to donate. But there is a lot of agencies out there that are doing this, and it's their mission, their calling. So I know they would really love to know that they're going towards students that, you know, need them. So I would reach out to her, Faith.
Awesome, thank you. Yeah, I definitely will.
Sorry, Chef Patty, Vistaprint actually makes ones that you could put your own logo on. I don't know what the cost is, and I don't know what the, you know, issues are with having them utilize a logo. But you may be able to, if you want chapter ones, you might be able to get them that way. And I'd have to see what the cost is.
yeah, and that was just a quick thought, but you know, I think Brian was right to where if they're already getting provided with them, if there's already wait for, you heard Anna, if someone needs one, let me know. You know what I mean? I think at this point, to get one that has a logo on it and to give it to a student, I think it's pretty obvious. I want you to wear my logo and spread the word about the ACF. You know, I think I really love this whole idea, but yet maybe to see what routes you can go first. And then if this becomes a long-term thing, maybe we do. You know, it's like be a holiday present from our chapter to each student or something that we could look into. But
Just gonna say that I think as a gift, that would be really, really nice.
awesome.
I did look into like Vistaprint and custom ink, and just overall, depending on the quantity that we want, goes by the quantity, it's easily over $1,000 just to get printed ones. Vistaprint, they're $14.99 a mask, and that includes your logo. So it's a pretty hefty bill.
Sorry, my niece is making masks, and she got patches made for Camp Hill with the Camp Hill logo, and she's just like putting the patches on her masks. So that's something we could look into too.
Another thing that we can look at is, you know, Chef Works, any of these chef companies now, they do make the masks now, and I'm pretty sure they can probably, you know, do one with the ACF logo. And I don't see anything wrong with even, I mean, we're talking about giving them away.
They might even donate them.
They'll donate them. It might be a good idea for us even to give them away or even make some money out of it for our chapter. It could be a good fundraiser too. I mean, just, you know, $5 or something, just a little money for people to have as a souvenir. I mean, we were selling T-shirts before or this before, so. I think the Chef Works. I mean, I know, you know, whatever you guys use for uniforms, but for the hat, I know they do make them now. And I got a price from them the other day. I looked them up at Chef Works and Happy Chef. There were some great deals in those. I mean, maybe not the original one. I mean, the initial one because you got to put the logo on it. But after that, you can probably get them cheap. Maybe they can donate them, like you said. That's just
I know. I've used New Chef, which is out on the West Coast when it all kind of blew up and they were doing the masks. So they have the capability of doing national logo, or, you know, if we send them our chapter logo, or the ACF with Harrisburg chapter underneath it, you know. So I know that company does do it. So they're out there as well.
Okay, so it sounds like there's a lot of interest. I don't know why I just muted myself, just randomly, first time on Zoom. So it sounds as though there's an interest, yes, in this sounds like a good idea, but not necessarily supportive of our chapter spending a whole lot of money to make it happen. And I think maybe the first step, at least in my suggestion, would be Anna's willing to make as many for free as possible. And then as far as, you know, checking out what other resources, and maybe we just extend that hand to the students and say, if you're in need of a mask, I mean, those classes are starting and you might need, you know, here's where you can get your free mask. And somehow maybe we communicate that and get that started. And maybe this generates into something more, you know, down the road here, into getting something with a logo on it. I'm hoping never to wear a mask again after a certain point here. So I don't necessarily want any, you know, memoirs from from the 2020 year. But so unless anybody else, was there any further discussion, any motions, anything anybody else had for that? Faith, again, I think that was an awesome idea.
No problem. I just wanted to bring it up. No matter what a mask is, I want to protect our students, our instructors. It's just important and it's needed. So I just wanted to start that.
Thank you. Much appreciated. Okay, and just to sum up as well, I know I saw Brian Austin there. I will send out the email, sorry, the link for that survey again in the email with that taco competition. That we both go out together to all instructors, and I'll copy you on it, Faith. I think I say that each time. I apologize. I'll copy you on it. All right, thank you. Anything else you have, Faith?
Nope, that is it.
Okay, thank you. All right, well then we will shift to apprenticeship. Chef Coral, do you have any, I know Chef Arnold was with us too. Any updates on the apprentices?
Unfortunately, right now, no. They're still doing online classes with Brian and I. We get to meet at least twice a week, you know, virtually with them, and then we wind up, you know, given assignments that they have to turn in. But at this point, you know, just because the numbers aren't there, they haven't been called back to work. So
we have a big meeting with the boss on Monday.
Yeah, yeah, next Monday. But we, you know, in the meantime, every time we have a meeting with them, we talk about what we want to do once we are allowed to get back into the kitchens. And, you know, and this is, again, Brian and I have been, you know, thinking about what we could do with the apprentices, and as far as, you know, doing different foods and stuff, and then turn around and using those and doing up meals that we would sell to the staff, because we're only going to be allowed to be open to the staff this year. There's going to be no outside guests whatsoever allowed at the school. That's our mandate. So we got to get creative on that side. So we're hoping that we can work some things out with the apprentices and utilize the food that we have there already that's been, you know, sitting in our freezer since last spring, and try to utilize that stuff as quick as possible. But that's all we have right now.
All right, thank you.
I will tell you, Caitlin isn't at this meeting because she went to Susan Notter's meeting.
Right.
Because she had so she's at that meeting.
I posted on Facebook, it's at 5 o'clock. And I did the math and I'm like, no, it's not, delete.
No.
I know, and that's what
Same time.
She said if it's going to be recorded, but that's where I think, especially if, you know, one of our chapter members is doing a demo for another chapter, that would be great to like zoom in together.
Yep.
Part too. And I know she was planning to do this a while back, so I'm sure it went really well for her. All right. We're going to jump into the golf. Oh, I'm sorry. I jumped way too far ahead. The certifications committee, that was with Michael, and I believe he talked a good bit. So I'm going to say he covered anything with that, unless anyone had anything else for certification. Okay. So accreditation then, Brian, did you have anything new with the accreditation?
Nothing new. Nope.
Okay. All right. Well, then we're going to fly right on to the golf outing, which there is some news to report. Chef Geip, if you'd like to take it away, and then I'm going to call Bob Roebuck. So if you can hear me, Chef, I'm going to call you so you can talk. Chef Geip, are you still with us? There you are.
I am. All right. So we have just got to go today for the golf outing. There I am. Just got to okay for the golf outing. It's going to be a little different. We're going to do a box lunch, and it will have everything in it that they need to eat, except for we're going to do like hot dogs, hamburgers, sausages, that type of thing. And it will be placed someplace on the golf course, so we don't know where yet. So it is on. It's going to be very limited. I will probably need volunteers like we had asked for originally. Chef Reese and Chef Peffley were on the call with us, and I think it will work I think it's they only can have 100 golfers, and they're going to be no shotgun start. They'll be doing 4 at a time off, so it will be a stretch over maybe 2.5 or 3 hours just to get the golfers on the course. So we won't have to be there no dark 30 in the morning, and we won't be there until forever at night. So I would assume that we will have a what our meeting wouldn't be there. So if we wanted to do a virtual meeting on them, I think that would be the way to go.
I agree. I mean, that's what I was thinking too, is how to tie that in with our meeting. And I think that would just be overboard for us to do that. So, and typically we're Zooming at 7 o'clock. I know Susan Nodder was lined up to do a candy decorating or candy demonstration. So I think we can connect but I agree. I think Zoom's probably the best there. So what do you need? What kind of commitment? What are you looking for as of today?
Well, we're actually going to Chef Peffley and Reese and myself are going to get together and come up with what we need and what we can get donated and what we can go from there. And I first of all, being retired, I hate asking anybody for anything right now because I'm not buying anything. But the opportunity for our purveyors too, they're not hurting as bad as our restaurants and our hotels are. But and I believe that Heidi from the Restaurant Association has some connections that she's going to try to get some of the food also. And it's still up in the air where we're going to prep it at. Chef Peffley had mentioned perhaps doing it at Lebanon Botec, except for, once again, we don't know if they're going to be there or not. So it's up in the air at this point. I could probably give you a heck of a lot better idea what's going on next month.
Yeah, the thought process is because of what Jay had just talked about was the no non-contact, is making a box lunch and then cooking the protein there, and maybe possibly our students or the apprentices, we could teach them, the COVID way of boxing. And then we were actually thinking of, and this is something we may be looking at you, Autumn, to possibly get with the Giant Kitchen and see if they would create a healthy side dish that they would then donate the ingredients that we could then market and put in the box, whether it's a harvest salad or something like that could be created and put in that lunch box, and then also market, the Giant products. So just keep that in mind. That's kind of a thought process that we were looking at. Because I know you have that relationship with the nutritionist, and we thought that would be a great way to market them, but also get product from them. So, they're getting promotion, but we're getting product, so we don't have to purchase anything. We're trying to keep our cost to nothing because of the low volume of golfers. Normally we have over 200 golfers. We're looking at only 100. So we got to basically give lunch for nothing so we can make money back, because that money goes, a good portion of it is going to come back to us.
Yeah, we also have the opportunity. I mean, like I said, it's only 100 golfers. We usually have 285 golfers. So just the amount of, the difference between that, and plus we have to pay the golf course, and we have to pay for everything there. So, and we're working at on a very small margin.
I would have to check with my other half, Neil, but we may be able to, because Hershey already uses our product. So we may be able to do something as far as the hot dogs and sausages, depending on what you need. You just have to let me know, and then I'll talk to him about that. I would think that would be something that he would be open.
That's awesome, Renee. That's exactly what we're looking for, but we're trying to ask.
We talked about that. We thought about you, Renee. You got some good products in there.
See how we opened the door for you to come in? Now we slam the door.
John, if you call Neil, he'll say yes right away. He loves you. You just have to tell him.
I'll call.
And I'll reach out to Shauna there and see. I don't know I don't know what she's involved with now. I don't know, what her budget is as far as doing events. I know anything corporate wise, what I've worked with the farm show has been way up at the top, and I'm sure they're not thrilled right now with, the way that it seems like nothing's going on, but I'll certainly.
But we know that they're making boatloads of money because Giants is making a ton of money. So I think,
No doubt.
their new marketing ploy that they have in their commercials about being in the community and supporting the community. This is I think if we approach it that this is for Camp Cadet, and every state police is going to be getting this lunch. I think that's I think worth their while to make a side dish that's going to cost them next to nothing. You know what I mean? We're talking about some fresh vegetables that we could, dice up and put into maybe a pasta salad.
Hamburgers, sausages. I mean, things like that. I mean.
Yeah, but the
side
dish
we're not asking for wagyu steaks or things like that.
Well, what I can see Shauna saying is like almost as though she would make a dish and portion it into 100 individual containers or something. Like I could see her wanting to contribute in that way.
Well, we would like her to give us her recipe, and then we take it with their product and create it so we can teach our students that product. So, I mean, we don't want her to do it and then just hand it. We'd like her to, whatever it is, and then the recipe that we can put in the box. And, we'd like to create a learning environment. And if it can't be done at our school, maybe it's done then at Hack. I just think it would be a great learning opportunity to take local fresh produce and turn it into a side dish to go into this and market it from Giant.
Another thing, just so everyone knows, the normal cost of this golf outing is $100. This year we pumped it to $150. We don't think that's going to be an issue at all. And plus we're also taking away a lot. If those of you who have worked the golf outing before, they had a full buffet lunch, hot dogs, hamburgers, couple of salads. Barb, do you want to go over the menu?
Yeah, Barb, we're expecting you to fly in for the gig.
There you go.
That's okay, but I'm going to leave you here. I just wanted to tell Charlie the salmon fishing started this week.
Ooh, I'll be out.
Oh, so I'll talk to you later. See ya.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye, Barb.
Also,
Bye.
we gave him a full dinner with a pound steak too. So I mean, it's that they're giving up a lot. Although we figure that there's going to be 100, and it's usually state police and restaurateurs and business people. I mean, they give $400 to come golfing right now because they're so tired of being stuck in what they're doing with this event that we're all going through. So that's about it.
Okay. Thank you, Chef. And I will certainly reach out. I know Renee will get back to you, but that sounded like a pretty good.
Just hold off. Like I said, we don't know for sure exactly. So just wait just one more week yet, okay? Before contacting Giant.
Talking to me. Okay. So let me know because Charlie's email today had given me an impression it was a go. So thank you for that. So yes.
Oh, it is a go. It is a go, Brian.
It is. Okay. All right, then go.
Okay. All right. That's all it is because I read that email and I thought she had just confirmed yes. So okay, good. So I'll reach out and see where I can get from that. And then obviously be in touch with what you need. And then the next communication out to the group, we can ask for what else we need there too. Okay. I have Chef Roebuck. Are you still on the line?
I sure am.
Ooh, can everyone hear him?
Yes.
Unfortunately, yeah.
Okay, he's on my cell phone. But Chef, what may you provide us with your updates, please? American Academy of Chefs, the Ronald McDonald House, anything for the food bank?
Sure. We have not received any updates from the Academy office as of today. As far as the Ronald McDonald House goes, they understand what our situation is. Fortunately, other people have been donating, not to the scale that we've been donating over the many, many years, but they are in pretty good shape. Food bank, they still continue at the off-site location. However, I've been notified by Joe Arthur, there'll be no volunteer people at the Corey Road address, at least till the first of the year. those are those reports.
Thank you, Chef. I appreciate it. So just to reiterate for that food bank, no one at the Corey Road location. However, in our newsletter, they are accepting volunteers with their particular protocol at their offsite location. Now, we have announced, I think we all know where that is, but they are not widely broadcasting. I think that was something else Chef had mentioned a while ago.
That is correct.
Yeah, they're just trying not to get the huge word out there, but yet at the same time, they are looking for volunteers. And please look for that link. I did highlight it in our last newsletter there. Thank you, Chef. Moving on then, it leaves us with other old business. Does anyone have any other old business they'd like to bring up? You must all see it's 9:01. Okay, so then for new business, the one thing I wanted to mention was the employment opportunities and internships. I had sent an email to that fact. I did hear back from a couple, and I thank you for anyone. There are still students looking for interns, as well as there's operations looking for interns. The Sugar Rose Bake Shop in Red Lion is desperately looking for 1 or 2 interns. I've definitely communicated with a few students, and it's a little bit out of their range, but if anyone else is close or knows anyone in that Red Lion area, it's the Sugar Rose Bake Shop. Also, Irv's Tavern is hiring a line cook. That got passed in as well. Again, that's something I'm hoping to continue passing through emails. It came up recently, and I wanted to make sure I communicated that as well tonight. Does anyone have any other new business for the meeting?
Yeah, Autumn, just real quick with employment opportunities. I mean, we're fortunate. We're still providing meals on campus. So I have actually 1 full-time cook's position and 2 part-time cooks that we're going to be hiring as we start to open up our campus. We're still on lockdown, but as far as our inside operations, our bistro, our restaurant, we're going to start opening them up right after Labor Day, actually. So we're going to need staff. Plus we have our company is going green and all fresh. So this would be a good opportunity for students to really kind of get in on a ground level and use hand skill. So
absolutely. Could you send me, do you have a website they can apply, or it's not just there just yet?
Well, what it's going to do is the company is now split. Like I said, Compass Morrison Living. So I joined the team with Morrison Living. But all the employees will be under Londonderry.
Okay.
So we're managing it basically.
Okay. So are these posted that they can apply for now?
Not yet, but I'll send you an email link with my information, and that's how they can get a hold of me and get an application in their hand.
Awesome. Thank you. That's what I was going to ask for. Great. Thank you. Anyone else? Any other employment opportunities, new business? Anything else for the meeting? I'll scan all your faces. No one looks like they're
No news.
basically. No. Okay. And if, again, I want to reiterate that we are going to be via Zoom next month. Anna's working on lining up the education. I'll obviously be in touch as we have information and as we have things to share. Otherwise, if there is nothing else for the meeting, I'd like to entertain a motion.
Motion to adjourn.
Second. Why anybody?
I'm not sure who the second, but I could put everybody. Okay. Thank you all for joining. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
And next meeting,
Thanks.
September 21st, 7 o'clock, right back here.
Thanks, Autumn.
Have a good night,
Hey, Charlie,
everyone.
hey, Charlie and Ryan, we'll get together someday for our meeting.
Thanks for all the visitors tonight.
Yes.
He just left. Missed him.